Hello everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing a little DIY with this Rae Dunn notebook that I found at TJ Maxx the other day. I really love the design of it, but I don't like that it's a spiral bound notebook. I just prefer disc bound notebooks, so I'm going to be taking it apart, putting some discs on it, and I'll show you how I do it. It is only $7.99, so if you enjoy this DIY, you can go pick one up and do it yourself. The cover is kind of a thin cardboard or like a thick cardstock paper, so I'm going to be laminating that and putting some discs on it, and we'll see how this is going to turn out. And I'm going to also be punching the pages as well because I love those and don't want to waste those. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm just going to take off this sticker first. And once I get that sticker off, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting off the cover, and I'm just going to cut along that line that's already there. Once it is cut off, I'm just going to trim up the excess on the edges there just to make it nice and even and straight so it'll look nice when I laminate it. So now I'm going to cut off the back cover, but for the purpose of this video, I'm only going to be demonstrating with the front cover because I don't want the video to get too long and redundant. The easiest way to do this would be to just punch this page, but it is way too thick for the Mambi punch, and it may work with the arc punch, but since that isn't going to work, I'm going to take this big cover and a pencil, and I'm going to trace the punch marks evenly along the edge of my page here, and then I'll have to just cut them out with my scissors and an exacto knife. It will take longer, but I think it'll be worth it because I'm not going to break my punch over this. So I'm going to start with my scissors, and I'm going to cut along all the little slits, and then I will go in with my exacto knife to cut out the entire mushroom shape of each punch. This way it will be a lot easier because it's going to be really hard to cut out the half circle with just a pair of scissors. Now let me warn you, this part is a lot harder than it looks because this page is so thick. There's a few layers of paper to cut through, so just have patience and it will turn out a lot nicer than if you just quickly try to rush through it. And another tip is to take your disc and just quickly spin it through that punch hole to make it nice and even and make sure your disc is going to sit in there nicely. So now that you can see what I'm doing to cut out these holes, I am going to go ahead and skip ahead just so you don't have to sit here and watch me cut out all these holes because it does take quite a long time. Alright, and there is all of our holes nice and cut out, and the discs have been spun through them, so I know that they will fit inside. And here's the back cover that I will do off camera. I do want to make sure my cover is nice and sturdy, so I'm going to laminate it. I got this machine from Amazon for about $20, and I'm going to use a 3mm laminating pouch. And once my machine is nice and ready, I'm going to put my page in my pouch here and make sure it's even on all sides before you run it through the machine. Alright, and I'm just double checking to make sure everything is nice and even and there is no hairs or anything that's going to get stuck in the lamination process. Alright, and I'm going to run it through my machine now. You want to be very careful with this part so it doesn't go in crooked. This did happen with this, unfortunately, so it did get jammed, but you'll see me fix it later on. It won't be perfect, but that's okay. Hopefully you will do a better job if you give this a shot. It is a little warm when it first comes out of the laminator, so be careful, but this is kind of what it looks like. It's now nice and hard and sturdy, but I'm going to run it through one more time, and this is where it gets a little jammed up. You'll see it's bad. Here's the line that you can see, and it does have a bubble through it, but I'm going to try to run it through one more time to try and even it out a little bit. And so you can see I do have a giant bubble here and a line through it, but that's okay. I am able to get most of that out later on. So let's go ahead and move on to the next step of the process, which is going to be cutting out those holes that we just laminated over one more time. So we're just going to go in there and basically trace around it with our scissors or exacto knife, whichever is easiest for you, but just cut out those holes. You will see here that I decided to cut the slits using my scissors and then use my exacto knife for the round parts. I found that to be a lot easier and I felt like I had a lot more control. But here it is on the discs. I really like how it turned out. It's coming along very well so far. So now I need to get the paper off of the spiral coil, and the metal is actually extremely pliable, so it's very easy to just do this with your hands. You don't need any special tools or anything. Just bend back the metal on all of them and make it as straight as you can. It makes it a lot easier to get the pages off. Once I get the coils bent far enough apart, I'm just going to start taking the pages off a few pages at a time as to not rip them, because it is still a little bit harder to get the pages off than I would like. And so once I do get the pages off, I will just quickly trim off the holes. I'm going to line it up as close as I can to the holes as possible and cut them off so I can punch them with the Mambi punch. So the Mambi punch will only take 3 pages at a time, so just be very careful if you do more than 3. I have abused my punch before, so I'm comfortable doing more than 3. You just have to know its limits and be very careful, and don't be sad if it does break on you. There are ways to fix it though, so just be careful. But once those pages are punched, I'm just going to pop them on the discs, and I will go ahead and move on and finish the rest of the pages now. I'm just going to repeat this process and take all the pages off, cut off all the holes, punch them, and put them in my notebook, but I'll go ahead and jump to when I finish doing that so you don't have to sit here and watch me do the same thing over and over. Okay, and I'm just punching the last few pages now so I can go ahead and pop them all on, and it did take quite a long time, just a heads up. Alright, and here is the notebook with all the pages on it. It's actually nice and thick. There is a lot of pages there, and I am going to finish the back cover off camera. Here it is. It's just the same process as the front cover, so I don't really need to show you how I did that one. But there is the front cover. We need to get this bubble out, and I'm going to put it through the laminator one more time to hopefully just melt it down. So I'm being very careful to place this cover in straight to make sure it doesn't get jammed again, because it would be quite tragic if I ruined this cover entirely. And I know the suspense is killing you, so here it is, and it actually fixed it up very well. There's only a couple of wrinkles in it now, which is a lot nicer than the giant bubble that was in it before, and you won't really be able to tell that much when it is on the discs. So I'm a lot happier with how this whole thing turned out after all. Alright, there it is, looking much nicer than it did before. We'll have to just live with the line in it. It's not really that big of a deal. Let's go ahead and put it back on the discs now and see the final product. Alright, and there it is. I really like how it turned out, and now I have a Rae Dunn notebook, but it is on discs instead of the spiral, which I love so much. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. And if you try this out, make sure to tag me on Instagram at natsgotplans. You can also check out my page where I post all my fun planner things and cool projects. And also check out my channel for more fun videos. And join me next week for more. Thank you for watching.